Hey everyone, welcome back to There Is No America Without Erica. So today we're talking about Wyoming, which apparently is about to be the Second Amendment capital of the damn universe, at least if you read the emails being blasted out by gun rights groups right now. Seriously, the way these alerts are written, you'd think Wyoming just nuked federal gun control from orbit and told the ATF to go pound sand. But before we all start packing our bags and moving to Wyoming for the promised land of gun rights, we need to slow down for a second and ask a very important question. Does this actually do anything? Or is this just another feel-good political flex that sounds badass but doesn't really change shit when the feds show up? But before we get into more details, if you want to support the channel, the best way to do that is by shopping at onlytacticalfans.myshopify.com. We've got like patches, we've got tourniquets. This one's the milligrade one that you can put like on your vest or something like that. And then we have this one that just goes like in your pocket. Then we've got emergency blankets and we have a bunch of merch. And yeah, we appreciate the support so much, guys. And go on and check out onlytacticalfans.myshopify.com. Let's break this down. What Wyoming is trying to do. There are 4 bills being pushed right now in Wyoming. 2 of them are actually pretty straightforward. House Bill 96 lowers the age for a concealed carry permit down to 18 years old, which honestly makes sense. If you're old enough to vote, sign contracts, get married, join the military, and get shipped halfway around the world with a rifle, you're probably old enough to carry a handgun without the government treating you like a fucking toddler. Then there's a House Bill 98, which strengthens the protection against red flag confiscation orders. Red flag laws are one of those things that sound reasonable at first until you realize they basically allow the government to take your guns before you've committed a crime. So tighten those up, yeah, that's a good thing. No complaints there. But the real attention grabbers are the other 2 bills, HB 130 and SF 101. These add a civil enforcement mechanism to Wyoming's Second Amendment Protection Act that passed back in like 2022. That law already made it a state crime for local officials to enforce unconstitutional federal gun control. And now the new bills would allow citizens to sue agencies in civil court if they cooperate with federal gun enforcement. Meaning if a local department helps the feds enforce certain gun laws, they could get hammered with lawsuits and damages. Seriously, when you first hear it, you're like, hell yeah, Wyoming, tell the feds to fucking fuck off. But here's where things get a little less exciting. The Supremacy Clause problem. There's this annoying little thing in the Constitution called the Supremacy Clause, and unfortunately it exists whether we like it or not. What it basically means is the federal law overrides state law when they conflict. Now states absolutely can refuse to help enforcement federal law. That's called the anti-commandeering doctrine. The Supreme Court has ruled multiple times that the federal government cannot force states to enforce federal regulations. So Wyoming saying, hey, local cops don't help enforce federal gun control, that part, that's totally legal. But here's the problem. States cannot stop federal agents from enforcing federal laws themselves. And that's where these laws start running into reality. Because if the ATF shows up, Wyoming law doesn't stop them at all. Not even a little bit. We've seen this movie before. This exact situation already played out in Texas with suppressors. Texas passed a law saying suppressors made and kept in Texas were exempt from the NFA. Everyone celebrated, headlines everywhere. People thought the NFA just got kicked in the nuts. Then the ATF showed up and the courts basically said, yeah, nice try. Federal law still applied, end of story. We've seen the same thing happen with Second Amendment sanctuary laws all over the country. They made it harder for local agencies to cooperate with feds. But they do not actually stop federal enforcement. So if the ATF decides to enforce something like the NFA or the Gun Control Act, these state laws don't magically shield you. They mostly just make the feds do their own dirty work. So why are states doing this? This is where things actually get interesting because Wyoming isn't the only state doing this. You're seeing similar moves in like Kentucky, you're seeing it in West Virginia, and a few other states are starting to float the same idea. So what's the end game here? There are a couple of possible theories. First, and this is the optimistic one, these states may be trying to build legal pressure. The more states that refuse to cooperate with federal gun control, the harder it becomes for federal agencies to enforce those laws nationwide. Think of it like slowly starving federal enforcement of manpower. No local cooperation, no local resources, no local help, just a handful of federal agents trying to enforce national gun laws across the entire country. That's one possibility. The second theory is, let's be honest, politics. These bills are fantastic campaign material. A politician gets to go home and say, I stood up to federal gun control, even if the real world effect is limited. And then there's the third theory, which might actually be the most interesting. Some of these states may be trying to provoke legal challenges, because if federal agencies enforce gun laws in states that are openly resisting them, it can trigger lawsuits that eventually climb their way up in the court system. And right now the courts are where the real fight over gun law is happening. Cases challenging 922G, the NFA, and other federal restrictions are slowly making their way through the system. So some states may be intentionally setting the stage for those legal battles. The honest reality, look, I'm not saying these bills are bad, they're not. Lowering the carry age is good. Limited red flags abuse is good. Discouraging local cooperating with federal gun control, also good. But we need to be honest about what these laws actually do. They don't nullify federal gun laws. They don't eliminate the NFA, and they definitely don't stop the ATF from enforcing federal law if they decide to. At best, they make enforcement more annoying and more expensive, which honestly is still better than nothing, but yeah. So if Wyoming passes these bills, does that suddenly turn the state into a gun right paradise where federal law disappears? No, but it does send a message. States are starting to push back. And when you see places like Kentucky, West Virginia, and Wyoming all moving in the same direction, it tells you something bigger might be brewing, hopefully. Whether that's political pressure, legal strategy, or just politicians trying to score points with voters, who knows? Either way, it's a fight worth paying attention to, because the real battle over gun rights isn't just happening in Washington. It's happening in state legislatures and federal courtrooms all over across the country. So anyways, let me know what you guys think of this, and if you guys like to support this channel, the best way to do that is by shopping at Only Technical Fans at my Shopify, where we have patches, gear, and some fun stuff we've put together for the community. And we really, really appreciate you guys' support. It means everything to us, and yeah, until next video, guys, peace.